Hey, let's talk a little bit about pocket sticks. Okay, today we're going to talk not about the use of the pocket stick. There'll be a separate video that we do on that, but we're going to talk about this specific pocket stick, which is Boker's SO4K Pro. This is a titanium, version. As always, look us up, Kelly McCann at combatives.com, KEMBATIVZ.com. Go on our Facebook page and Instagram page, like, share, subscribe, follow, all that kind of stuff. Over the years, I've been questioned a lot by other self-defense instructors, combatives instructors, DT instructors, etc., about the utility of a pocket stick. And I've maintained all along that this thing's a great weapon. It's a great weapon not because it's a fight ender, and you can't confuse it with something that's going to stop somebody. But what you can do is you can bend a fight, all right? Fight bender instead of fight ender. The beauty of this design, and they're still around, I don't know if Boker's making them anymore, but there's still some around that you can find. This particular design is 5 inches in length, made of titanium. This particular one, there's some made of steel. It's got some crenulations on the edge here, ridges, that when dug into the bony structure and the nerves makes it a little bit more effective. The radius on the end, which we found is about like 3/8 of an inch radius, a domed edge, keeps it from penetrating the skin when you hit really hard with it, which is important because you don't want to release bloodborne pathogens, you don't want to puncture anything or anything like that, or suddenly turn a useful, less than lethal tool into a lethal tool, okay? The other good thing about the design, and I don't know the person who actually designed this, I wish I did because I'd like to credit them. They really did a good job with one exception, and I'll talk about in a second. There's really, when you talk about pocket sticks, like generally 4 kinds of things that we can talk about pocket sticks, right? One is the Kubotan, of course, from TAC Kubota. Years ago, back in the late 70s, I think TAC came up with the idea of using the Kubotan, right, TAC Kubota, to control people during the arrest procedure, do takedowns, take them down from a standing position, etc. And they all had like a swivel and then some keys on the end, and everything was taught with those things from, slashes to the eyes with the keys, to thumb manipulation, to putting it in the saddle of the wrist and the forearm and then rotating it using a C-clamp, which you can with this, right? It's great because you can use it like that. And also as a Uwara stick so that you could poke and slam and do all kinds of good things with it. And this design allows you to do that. It also allows you to use it like a capo stick. And a capo is pretty much known because of the finger loop that lets you put it on your hand and it won't come out of your hand, right? But you can catch punches with this, you can slap people in the head with it, you can hit different bony structures with it, you can use it to manipulate, you can do a lot of things with this. You could parry with it, you could do a lot of different things, and it won't come out of your hand, so it's with you all the time. So it can be used as a capo because of that design. Another design that it can be used for is the Dan Bang, rather, from Korean Hapkido, right? It's a snapping stick, like you saw with Micah Chanis's Rangdo, the short snapping stick. Well, because of the finger loop on the end, you put your little finger in there, and the leverage that you get out of this, and it's significant weight, even though this is titanium. Titanium's lightweight, lighter than steel. Getting cracked in the head or the collarbone or the outside of the elbow or along the arm as someone was reaching for you in any kind of motion that you can do quickly would make this a formidable tool to dissuade someone from going further, right? To keep them from wanting to continue on. So that is a good tool. And lastly, of course, you can use it as a Uwara, right? A judo stick, where you just basically hammer fist different points on the body with a lot of power in order to get a reaction. And that's the big thing about the pocket stick. A lot of times we'll throw a pocket stick in when we're rolling. And it's fun with the ground crowd because it does make a difference. You get a reaction out of it, and then people stop fighting you and they start fighting to get away, right? Or they start trying to control the weapon instead of actually going for submission or grounded pound or whatever, because you're applying pain that's kind of electric, right? So super good tool. The other good thing about it is that it's remarkable in how easy it is to conceal, and it's not threatening looking at all, right? It's not like having a knife or anything really. I mean, it could be used as a muscle trigger point device, right? There's nothing inherently illegal about putting this in your pocket. You can use it to massage muscles. If you have a problem with, like, a muscle that's tightened up, you can work it out with this in any kind of different ways. So it's it is, I don't want to say deniable, but it can be used for other things than the purpose for which it was intended. And that goes into the whole discussion about weapons of opportunity versus purpose-built weapons. And I'm going to do another video on that to talk about that, because sometimes people will take something and they'll confuse it as legal because they'll put it in their pocket and say, well, it's a weapon of opportunity. A weapon of opportunity is just something that you would grab and put in your hand. Something that you would have a reason for carrying other than its attributes as a weapon. Something like a mag light, a thin mag light in the back pocket, or something like that. You would have reasonable, reason to have that in your back pocket. The minute you start using purpose-built weapons, to include those that a competing attorney could go online and find out about, you've got more of an issue. Okay, so in other words, a lot of coin sap people, right, will take a sap, which is an illegal device, okay, and they'll make one out of coins. Okay, so we've got one that is a coin pouch, and that's great as long as it remains a coin pouch. But the minute somebody publishes something online or Facebook or Instagram or talks about its purpose, its intended purpose as a weapon, then you're right back to concealing a sap in your pocket, right? So that's the problem. Like all weapons, the best thing about a pocket stick is that if you find yourself putting it in your hand or touching it, pulling it out of your back pocket or wherever you choose to carry it, it's actually serving as a trigger, right? It's telling you to get out of the area. You wouldn't have put it in your hand, you wouldn't have touched it unless you thought you were gonna be in a threatening situation. So that's important, right? And we wanna always use our weapons first for that purpose, not for the purpose that they were initially built or constructed, but as a trigger to remind us we should be leaving now, or we should be getting away now. Okay, if it was significant enough that you had to think about that, it was significant enough for you to be leaving. The only thing that I have to say bad about this device as made by Boker is that it's about an inch too short. This is right at 5 inches, like I said at the beginning, and what in a perfect world, pocket stick should do, it should protrude the same length out of both sides of your fist, so that no matter what, you could hit this way, you could hit this way. And although this does protrude a little bit in my hand, right, because I have a relatively small hand, it won't with people with larger hands. Okay, it's just a little bit too small. 6 inches, 6.5 inches is just going to be about the right size for anybody to be able to grip the weapon and have enough coming out of either side of their hand to be functioning with. But for something that you can find online, buy for, I think these are like $45 or something like that, and then put on your EDC list where you're carrying it around routinely, I couldn't be more emphatic about supporting these things. I'll do a couple more YouTubes on other pocket sticks, both some homemade ones out of drumsticks and out of other cut off Eskrima sticks and things like that. I'll do one on one that we purpose built so that it had a little bit more effect when you started using it. It was built specifically with more ridges and more bumps on it so that you could use it more effectively. And then of course I'll do the video on, well, what do I do with it? I've got it in my hand, like what the hell do I do with it? All I can tell you is that until you've actually had instruction in it and you've felt this thing, you can't be quick to discount it. All right, all too often in the combatives community, people pshaw shit that should left to experience. You should experience it first and then decide whether you assign it value or you don't assign it any value. Okay, everyone that I've ever put this on has seen value in it. Okay, everybody that I've ever touched with this thing or shown and manipulated them with it goes away thinking, okay, that would be a decent tool. The other good thing about this is that a lot of the knife systems that are out there right now that are questionably, it's questionable whether they're lawful or not. This, you could do the same kinds of movements with this in your hands and be completely lawful or more lawful, okay, and regarded more lightly by the law should it go against you, because you won't create as significant injuries, right? You won't be slashing someone to bits or cutting them up into little tiny bits. So that's just a little blurb about the Boker SO4K Pro pocket stick. If you don't have one, you should get one, and then wait for my video to come out and we'll go through the different uses of this thing on where and how to apply it. So again, it's www.combativz.com. Kelly McCann, you know me, I probably know you. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you soon.